Hi guys, me again, the HEMA Reviews guy. So today I will be taking a look at the Moc Mini Feder Feder shred, basically. So you know probably that I have already done a review of the Moc Feder shred, and this is not the same sword. This is a slightly smaller version of it. So I will just go quickly through the list of its specs so that you know what to expect. So first off, the weight. 1780 grams, so it is definitely towards the heavy side. It is not too light, however, the point of balance is here, which is 4.5 centimeters, so very far back, which brings most of the weight into the handle. However, since it's a very nice and wide blade, you still have a good feeling of blade presence. The total length is 132.5 centimeters, which is a decent length, but of that, 34 centimeters is the handle. That is more than a third of the 97 centimeter blade. Next, what we have is the centers of percussion, which is here, which is on third of the blade, which is good, and slightly high, about here where my thumb is resting, which is a little bit high, but the handle is so thick that it absorbs so much of the vibrations that it isn't really a problem. At least in my opinion, I don't think it would be an issue that the wrist would start hurting due to the vibrations. And that's basically what I have to say about the sensors of percussion. The forward rotational node is good, it is at the point. And the flex is, to start flexing it, so about here, let's say, I need 8 kilograms of force. And to fully flex it, which is about here, I need 11.5 kilograms of force, which is relatively light, but just stiff enough that it doesn't actually cause any problems when you try to fight it. It's not floppy. I can't really hit anyone around their defense, yet it is very safe in the stab. Talking about the safety in the stab, it has a very lovely point, which is both spatulated and widened at the end, so very safe there. There is no fuller except for the shield part, which has a hollow ground to it, which looks very nice in my opinion. And safety-wise, this is probably one of the best swords I've seen. The crossguard ends in these bulbous masses, which are perfect if you by accident hit anyone with them. The pommel is almost round, very, very nicely decorated as well. The peen is nice and flushed, so there are no sharp edges on the crossguard either because it's round. Overall, safety-wise, great sword. Aesthetics-wise, also a beautiful piece of steel this is. I love how the handle is made, how it's shaped. It's a little bit bulky for me, but it's not so bulky that I wouldn't be able to use it comfortably. So it's still okay, it's more about personal preference here. The only thing that kind of bothers me is that the end of the handle, where it meets the pommel, has a bit of a lip, which I have no idea why that is there. That being said, let's talk about how the sword handles. I haven't handled it much. In fact, this only came like 10 days ago, and it's not mine, so I only had it for maybe a training or two to try it out, but it handles very nicely. It has enough of blade presence that the 4.5 centimeter point of balance isn't a deterrent. Using it is actually quite a pleasure. It has a lot of blade presence due to the relatively wide blade, which is great because the point of balance, which is so far back, might have been a problem if this weren't the case. It is much nicer to use than the Regenie standard. I always bring up the Regenie standard because it is the de facto standard right now, and I don't like it that much. This is a much better, nicer sword. It costs around 300 euros, and I would actually recommend it in case you like heavier swords that are very fast in turnaround strikes and have a point of balance pretty far back. So overall, first impressions with this, very good, much better than the regular Moc Feder, which I also said was pretty good, but I had some other issues with. Those issues are remedied with this one. The handle is still a little bit long for me, but that's fine because I can just grip it above the pommel and there is no problem with that. But This is a sword that I don't think I would have problems recommending. Moc is also a well-established name, so I don't think there will be any issues with quality control and such. So that's it for my first impressions of the Moc Mini Feder. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. Otherwise, have a good one.